Is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders and closet swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. What a day yesterday. What a day. The Jerome Powell rug pull. The good news, it is round 2 fight. We do have Jerome Powell. Maybe doubles down on his what was it. I mean, it wasn't crazy hawkish, but maybe he just slept on it all night and said, "That's it. We're gonna just finish him." Or he comes in and goes, "I meant to change it. I didn't mean it like that. I saw the markets after I left. Wasn't that great?" Biggest takeaways from the meeting. So again, on Monday, I was like, you know what? I don't think Jerome Powell says anything too crazy. I don't think he has to. I was expecting more of a non-event for today, tomorrow, and really heavy notice for Friday when we get the jobs reports. But he did come out swinging. He came out saying, basically, we think that we have zero intention of pivoting. Right. If the market at all at any point said that we're probably going to pause on rate hikes, we're looking for any type of pivot, this market would look very, very different yesterday and probably today as well. So we'd probably have massive run if he mentions pause. If he says nothing at all, we probably continue in that bullish direction. But he comes out saying, yeah, you know what? We probably will be raising rates. We will continue a lot longer. And the market just did not like that. And I think the market was not really expecting that either. So very, very interesting yesterday. We'll see if today, if there's any follow-up from what he's saying, how that's going to affect it. So today he's talking to the House. Yesterday was Congress. Some of the questions that the Congress gave, so I got to see at least some of it a little bit late last night. Finally, and I'm just like, the questions themselves were just absolutely stupid that they were asking. I mean, they were trying to grill Jerome Powell, and it wasn't a good look for Jerome Powell, but it has nothing to do with Jerome Powell either. Essentially, they were, Ron, very, very political, which is what you would expect. But they were basically trying to grill him. At least I know a couple of the Congress people that I saw were trying to grill him on, well, if you keep raising interest rates, essentially, I mean, you're looking for about 2 million more people to be unemployed. What do you tell their families? Like, how do you look at them right now and say, sorry, you guys are not going to have jobs? And the number might go up to a lot higher than 2 million as far as more people that need to be unemployed. And like, so yes, to some extent, like we have to get those jobs. We need more people to be laid off. It's an unfortunate reality, but it will save the other 100 million people where if you keep it now, inflation affects everybody. And then I'm listening to the questions. I'm like, well, you know what? I think all the pushes for higher hourly wages, that would probably affect inflation a lot. That would also probably affect a lot of layoffs. Like there's a lot of policies that even just budgeting the balance for the government will help with inflation. Like there's a lot of stuff. And Jerome Powell he could only really do what he could do. He can't really, he's not only fighting inflation, but he's also got to fight the House, the Senate, all that stuff. It was just so insane. Like some of the questions where it's like, it's all Jerome Powell's fault that people have to be laid off. Like, nah, Jerome Powell is dealing with the aftermath of us printing $1.7 trillion and just releasing it into the markets. So very, very political, like Ron said. I agree with that. And the main thing from that, and we'll see if they're going to go with the House and just start grilling him too. And I think Biden came out with some tax agreements or tax speech yesterday where he was also saying, don't worry, we're not raising taxes only for the people making over 400%. But then he's also trying to close a loophole with individuals that are self-employed that have S corps, where that does reduce your taxes. So if you close, they call it a loophole, but realistically, it's been happening forever, and that will end up costing individual families, anybody under 400,000. If you make about 150,000, it's going to cost you about another $2,600 next year. If you make 250,000, it'll probably cost an individual that can't use the loophole about another 3,500 a year. So there's a lot of political but it looks good on paper to say, yeah, it's only 400. If you make 400,000, you should be able to afford more taxes. So anytime you deal Congress and White House, it gets crazy. But again, that was a big reaction today so far, pre-market. And I was even like, wow, even after hours, we were not really moving. We've been seeing nonstop movement from the markets where any market makers and after hour people get to have all the fun. And now I'm like, oh no, now I'm just suspicious. Like, this thing just rode flat from close to today. Looks like we are we're up a little bit from yesterday's close. Very, very slightly. Like 2 pennies. 1 penny, essentially flat. So we'll see what happens. Win says that's what accountants and S corps are for. Or those rich don't pay taxes. Well, usually you don't get rich by just giving all your money away. Realistically. But yeah. It's pretty smart. And then you got all the death benefit planning, and you got all that stuff that just you have the ability to do being on the wealthier side of things. And not every common person that just goes out, works 9 to 5 and tries to hustle has the advantage to do. So, it's very, very political. But right now, we'll have to see where this thing opens. I am watching these VPOCs very closely. So this is obviously still today is developing VPOC, but right now we are technically higher than yesterday. We do have yesterday's VPOC, which is the highest volume point from yesterday. That's going to land somewhere around 398.27. Somebody did mention in the chat we do have ADP numbers that came out this morning, and they did come in again a little bit hot. Market dipped on it and fought right back. So could we see continuation? Let's take a look real quick at the VPOCs on the daily without using extended hours. So that would be, I've got a big level at 395.20. Maybe that happens. We do have a little bit of support somewhere around 398.32. And if that breaks, and essentially that's kind of where we're at now. We did close roughly right at it. So decent spot to close. And anything under that, we do start getting down to a little bit of support. 397.37 would be the next spot. After that, we have 397.37. So we have 2 levels very close there. And then if those start to break, that could take us to about 395.33 today. This would be the third day. If we get a close here, this would be a third day. So right now, technically, it's still a pullback. This is only one VPOC that is lower than the last 3 that were continuously higher. If we do take this fib from this move, that puts us pretty much at a close at 618. This is going to be a big, big move. Lucian says, well, you don't expect politicians to take blame for this. They do cause it to reflect it. Yeah, there is no blame in DC. You could only blame other people. But that's how you get voted in next time. That's how you keep your position. I've never seen a politician come out and go, yeah, you know what? This one was my fault. I'll take this one. I don't know. But very, very political yesterday. After the statement. After his opening statements, he didn't really get into anything else. But honestly, it wasn't a good look for Jerome Powell, just how he was getting grilled. And his responses weren't bad. I mean, he tried to stay almost as neutral as possible and just say, listen, this is all I could do. I can't really, I mean, you guys are just messing me up over here. I'm the the Fed chairman. I'm not I'm not you guys. You guys also have the ability. There was a point where he kind of alluded to that a little bit, which I thought was kind of funny. But all right, so this is the 618. So we'll have to see where this holds. This should be a very strong level. If we get any type of bounce, probably be looking into about the $484 level. So could go either way at open from here. But let's take a look at the Qs real quick. And just being that that's such a key level, and now we have a lot of downward pressure. We did trap some bulls from yesterday. It makes sense that we are a little bit flat and kind of just have a big fight from bulls and bears. Which way this thing is going to go? The meeting did. If you guys were checking the Fed futures rate or percentage, it did jump from, I think we were roughly about 27% chance at that point going into the meeting of a 0.5 basis hike. Now, I think during Jerome Powell yesterday, that jumped to about 76%. So the 0.5 is definitely back on the table. And I think that was something that the market was not really even kind of entertaining the idea of for the most part. So things did change yesterday. And Friday was the day I was looking for. Big news, big move in the market, having the job. And I think because of today, and we'll see where we close today, tomorrow, but I do think that those numbers are now going to be multiplied in the amount of how people are going to look at those things. So Friday's going to be an absolutely huge day for the markets. JFK admitted a mistake. Did he have time to? It didn't end well for him. I don't know what the I don't know if that's too soon. I don't want to get canceled. All right, we got 50. We're about a 50% pullback on the Qs. So again, pretty key level here. The next one down looks like somewhere at about 294.45-ish. That would be our 618. So that's our bounce spot. So we do have a little bit more ways to go on the Qs. Obviously, we saw the SPY. We broke down this day on the SPY. This one we're still holding. So Qs still a little bit stronger. But we are at some key levels. Again, this could be a little bit of a decent bounce. If we get a bounce here, this looks like it's the VPOC plus, also about a 50% retracement. 297.97, I think, would be the strong resistance on the Qs. So we'll take a look at that. Tesla was, and I'll go through some more stocks, but look at this little drop on the Tessie. Not holding up. What's up, Jerome? I was going over with the mentor group last night. A lot of people were probably looking at this, like this day right here, as okay, if this one breaks, then we probably had a lot lower for this day. I do agree in some sense, but I was telling him, I was like, honestly, I think we've already broke it. I don't think we have to. I don't think this matters as much. Which I do have some puts lined up. This is a big gap down over just an entire level of some kind of resistance. This is also a retest gap, right? So this is the retest, the 2-day retest. We started to fade. If we're looking at the VPOCs, yesterday's VPOC is closing slightly below this one. We also have 1, 2. This is our third day in a row. So technically today is a retest on Tesla. I don't know if I want to be the first one to go bearish. I would be looking for some kind of a retest. I don't know if that's going to be into this low of that green candle, which would be somewhere around roughly about 186.52. Maybe we get a little bit higher on the retest into the VPOC of 189.70, about 189. I'll call it 71, but could be a couple pennies lower. So if we could get into that and then we roll, that would make sense. But this looks like, to me, Tesla looks like 173 is in the future. 173, we have two VPOCs over here. The next one, 172.16. So somewhere in that range would probably be our bigger potential bounce spot. As we get down there, that's where I might look to sell some puts I would really like to sell a couple puts when it gets down to about 163-ish. But that would be probably I would if I was to do a Mr. Squiggles, we probably look for some kind of rotation there, back up, and then maybe this. And I don't know from this point if we start to rally or we do get that bigger drop. I would assume the rest of the market would depend on that point as well. Emily says Tesla's trading below last week's low. Yep, I agree. I agree because it's not an opinion. It definitely is. I mean, I can't argue it. Is basically what I'm trying to say. It's looking kind of like it's broken. So I definitely have my eye on Tesla. I actually put that to the top. Crowd did have earnings, so let me take a look. I know you guys are putting that in the chat. Real idiot in YouTube, and I'm not calling you a real idiot. That's just your name. You say Warren is an economical genius. Yeah, I would agree. His genius is in the simplicity. That's what I would say for Warren Buffett. The simplicity of it, and just not worrying about all of the stupid day-to-day type stuff, and just going, all right. There's always going to be, speaking of real idiots, there's always going to be Washington, and realistically, they're making moves every day. But if you are finding the right companies, you're getting in at the right price, you have your conviction. Eventually, over time, the long term. Again, even if the market does pull back and we see crazy lows and stuff like that, if that happens, the market itself is designed in a longer term to continuously move higher. So, in a longer time sense, you will be correct. That's why timing the market becomes tough. Crowd did have earnings. Good gap and go from yesterday. Also breaking, pretty much gapping above a 2-day point. I don't really see next target would probably be about 135.47. So you already saw I kind of just boosted that up on the list. We could definitely watch that. Let me just see if we have any pre-market levels on this gap and go, or how we'd want to play this thing. It's a big move. I do expect some kind of bullishness. Right now we're kind of stair stepping down pre-market. I would almost say we have a good level. If we were to do something even at like probably about 131.57. This is just an idea for now. That would be a bullish entry. Stops we could put down here. 130.57. And let me just see where targets would be. I also got the J&J dividend today too. That just makes I just wake up, feel happy when it happens. Let me see. Somehow I lost one of my sheets. All right, let me reopen that one. Manuel says, "Are y'all still doing the podcast?" Yes. We do it live every single Thursday between 3:30 and 5 p.m. Eastern. Is when we record it, and then we do still have it go out live. So if you have not been receiving the email, I mean, you could also check Spotify, Apple, anywhere the podcasts are happening. But if you're not receiving an email, because we usually send it out every Friday, you can just shoot me an email, and I'll make sure that we can figure out why that's occurring. 0.57. All right, so if we were to do 2 hours on this trade, this would be 133.57. A little bit of a hike, but it could have some room. It's well within the range of that previous VPOC. So this would be 57 template target, and let's put this as 2Rs. Okay. And then this one would be 133. We'll do 132.57 just so we can mark down where at least 1R is. It's not bad. This is 1R target. And targets 1R. And coordinates. Let me just make sure I got the right number. 57, good. All right. So that's how that would look. The reason I'm doing that, where my entry is, so that would take us above this VPOC. That would also take us outside of this kind of little bit of pocket liquidity. That would give us some kind of little bit of safety net, hopefully. This could also be a decent double bottom spot. We still have 8 minutes till the market opens. I'm kind of figuring out if I want to. I'm going to wait a candle or two, but this is going to be a rough idea for a setup, and we have to just rearrange things. That's similar to how I think I would play it. It is a really nice gap, though. And then again, let me just go back to that VPOC in terms of if this is even doable to get to 2Rs. Yeah, 134.86 is possible. 135. It's actually got decent risk reward. All right, that's going to be pretty high on my list. I'm going to watch that one very, very closely at open. See how that first candle reacts, especially if we get a red candle. That would be outstanding. Then I could probably even come a little lower with my entries potentially. All right. Win says the market will pull back to exactly where the hedge fund wants it to. They will then load up on cheap assets, either start selling them. I don't think the hedge funds, yes, I mean, they have the ability to move the market for sure. But right now it's in the bigger picture of the economy. It's still, are we overpaying in the zone? I do think yes, but that's just me. Let's see. Any other tickers that you guys want to look at so far? We got two that I'm watching very closely. Coinbase not doing much. AMD. We do have a little bit of a gap up on AMD. This would be a retest gap into a little bit of resistance, so probably not the best. Oxy, yep. So I believe Warren Buffett filed that he did buy more Oxy. And therefore, you're getting a little bit of a gap up. Still into a little bit of resistance. It is a gap and go. First level, though, first target would be 62.59. Doesn't give us much room. And 62.99 would give us the next one. For a longer term aspect, anywhere from, I think, 58 to 60 would be a decent spot. And especially if it starts dropping below 58 at any point, that's a better spot to buy for a little bit longer term. If you do want to join the economical genius that is Warren Buffett, but he did file. I think he owns about 22% of the company right now. Meta has a nice gap. That's not a gap. This is a gap. Yeah, actually it does. Is this the right ticker? Well, I don't have. I feel like I should have Meta on the list. No, that's weird. Maybe I deleted it by accident. All right, let's scooch this one up to be probably. It's going to be very comparable to Tesla. Let me just see pre-market levels. It has a lot of room to the downside. That's why I'm kind of like, yeah, I kind of like it. It's got the same potential if this thing breaks to the downside. And again, this one would be also just like Tesla, would be a retest gap. Let me see. We're pretty much getting out of that pocket of liquidity right now. We do have some of the moving averages coming in, but the next target for this one isn't really until about 179.50. So how I would like to play this one is see if we can get some kind of a balance, see if we get the retest. I put it as number 3 on the list. It could easily switch with Tesla as well. I'd value these gaps about the same. I like the ginormous amount of range, and probably what I would do on this one is, I mean, this could be double topish. Tesla looks like it fundamentally broke down a little bit more after there's a huger consolidation area, but this could definitely be a double top. Let's see if we get a little retest in this one, and then look to play this one short at some point. Could we play the retest? You got about $2 if you want to play to the higher side. But I think I'd rather be leaning a little bit short on Meta. Win says Meta pre-market action looks short. Yeah, the only thing is technically a retest gap, though. And right now, this is running into the VPOC. Technically, we are slightly below this VPOC. Obviously, all of the previous VPOCs were now crushing lower. So the best spot, and this takes us right back to that 184.60. If we could get there, I don't know. But I'll definitely keep my eyes on it, see if we have any type of setup. But this is, again, there's a lot of selling in pre-market. Plus, you have the additional selling from yesterday. I would imagine somebody's got to be profitable in this thing where they might want to actually ring the register. Looking to short the retest of prior low yesterday. Yeah, that's going to be very, very strong. Somewhere around this 184. Even if we were to do something like this, let's see. Slide this over a little bit. Somewhere around here would be bearish. And then having a stop, maybe that might even be too wide. Probably having a stop somewhere around here, which would be 186.04, something in that range. If you could get that bounce, this thing could open and fly down, but technically it is a retest. Yep, that would look like a decent setup for me. One that, if we'll see how the market opens, if we want to rally or not, but that looks decent to me. All right. Rick says, what's my, you can either email Dan at reallifetrading.com or also support at reallifetrading.com. Either one. I'll get either of those. The sooner the better. Like this, the quicker I believe Jerome Powell starts at 10 a.m. again, so about 32 minutes from now. If we could get out of a trade before then, terrific. Otherwise, the one thing I will say, and you saw it with SE yesterday, you still have a company gapping on individual news. So it's still going to have a little bit more bullish catalyst where I don't think it would matter as much. Netflix doing its thing. But yeah, if we could get out prior, I mean, I would love to. I don't know if the market lets us, or we will see. Beyond DOS meets a little bit of a gap up. Gonna have resistance somewhere around 1824. Next one comes in at 1845, but at least we're starting to make some kind of a bullish move. So we might have some, and even yesterday was a little bit weird. I got 26 seconds. Where a lot of the bigger companies were down, but there was still some positive companies. It wasn't like the entire market was getting wrecked. So there is some sweet spots that were happening yesterday in a bullish direction. All right, I've got 8 seconds left. So make sure everybody in YouTube land, you guys hit that little thumbs up, like, subscribe, do all the things that YouTubers tell you to do for the algorithm purpose. But you guys are incredible. Be safe out there in the market. Remember, Jerome Powell speaks at 10 a.m. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Meta is starting to get some kind of a little bit of a bounce. And I'm going to set that trade up as official before we even jump off YouTube. My personal day trade Meta 184.52 by 186.04. Let me throw this one real quick in Slack. We'll see what happens. I'm just trying to, I don't know if it works or not, but just trying to get filled high and run it. Sell high, buy low. All right. YouTube, you guys are absolutely incredible. I will catch you guys all